the way they managed the Ronald Acuna injury, because a lot of baseball analysts were saying that he wasn't going to be ready until the All-Star break, maybe June at the earliest, and he comes back right at the beginning of the May, and then has dealt with some other injury issues since then. So do you think that was a mistake bringing him back the way they did, or do you think there was something we knew about that they didn't, or they knew about we didn't?
I'm sure there's something that they knew about that we didn't. And look, Ronald's an extremely hard worker. He's a really fun player to watch. You're right. When they talk about some of the injuries that he's dealt with lately, some groin stuff, some leg stuff, it honestly makes me a little bit nervous as somebody who's not even a Braves fan, but just who covers the team. And I've been saying on the air that, look, just put this guy in the 10, 15, whatever day IL and just let him rest for a week and a half, 2 weeks, whatever it may be, and just make sure he's right, because much like with the Mets, you're really not going to go to the places you want to get to, I believe, this season, especially without Freddie Freeman in the mix, if you don't have Ronald Acuna. I think he's such a big part of what the Braves want to do here, and you're obviously asking some guys to have, multiply or I guess reproduce what they did last year in Austin Riley and Ozzie Albies and Dansby Swanson. And Swanson I call him the human roller coaster, because he's just so up and down all over the place. It's an emotional roller coaster watching Dansby Swanson. I had people early in the season tell me, he's done. I want nothing to do with Dansby. I'm sick of him. And I said, just ride the wave. He'll come back up again. It's the roller coaster. He'll come back up, and he's been fine lately. But yeah, I'm a little nervous about Ronald Acuna Jr. I think he's not fully healthy, but I think he just loves the game and wanted to get back out there so bad, and proved, I guess, enough to have that youthful exuberance to get himself back in the lineup. And I hope he's okay, but I think they need to be careful with him, because obviously he's the franchise.
We are talking to ESPN Chattanooga radio show host Greg Larnerd. Now, Greg, before we get into a couple of questions when it comes to basketball, what has been the surprise so far in this MLB season? Has it been the Yankees and that unbelievable pitching? The Yankees are right now breaking records. Their rotation has been dominant. I mean, who would have thought that some of these guys would be as dominant? We all know what Garrett Cole could do. We all know how great of a pitcher he is when he's on. But some of the other guys that have been just fantastic, Nasty Cortez. I mean, just everybody that has been pitching well, and that bullpen has been really unstoppable. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts with the Yankees, and what has been the biggest surprise so far early in this MLB season?
Yeah, I think the Yankees are obviously way up there, and as I can see, you're rocking a Yankee hat, so I assume that you are a pinstripe fan.
I am a Yankee fan, yes.
But they're orange and Mets colors.
But I hate Yankee fans, by the way. And just so everybody knows, I can't stand Yankee fans, because they really don't understand the game of baseball. They just think that if this guy's available, buy him, bring him in. But the Yankees have done everything right. And by the way, Yankee fans in the last year and a half, get rid of Aaron Boone. He's a horrible manager. Get rid of Brian Cashman. It's passed him by. Look what Brian Cashman has done this offseason. Look what Aaron Boone, after getting his 4-year extension with the Yankees, he's on his way of winning Manager of the Year. By the way, he'll be the first manager in Major League history in his first 5 years to have 3. If he wins 100 games this year, he'll be the first manager in Major League history in his first 5 years to have 3 100-win seasons. What are you going to say about that?
That's not bad. Mm-hmm. No, I mean, Yankee fans can be the worst. I've always said it's easy to be a Yankee fan.
Horrible,
it's hard to be a Mets fan, because we've had to go through so much suffering. You guys have had a lot of good times, I assume, in your lifetime. You grew up with the 90s Yankees and things like that.
I'm not a Derek Jeter fan. I can't stand Derek Jeter. So don't.
Really?
I can't
I
stand
actually like Derek Jeter.
I can't stand him. I met him. I've interviewed him 3 times, and to me, he's just a nasty you-know-what. So that's just my thoughts to Derek Jeter. I'm actually like Alex Rodriguez better. So that's just my
interesting.
Yeah.
Alex Rodriguez, big Mets fan.
Yeah. He probably would have rather been a Met than a Yankee. That's for sure.
I know. I definitely heard that, but it is what it is. And but yeah, when it comes to the Yankees, just quick on them. Yeah, the pitching staff, I mean, you said it all. Nestor Cortez has been incredible, and I just he's so much fun to watch. I really enjoy, as a baseball fan, getting an opportunity to watch him pitch and just have fun out there on the mound. I think that's a lot of the times what we don't take away from these guys who go on and they work so hard and things like that, that they can't go out there and they have fun. And I think that's at the heart and soul of baseball, that is really what it's about. It's about having fun. And Nestor Cortez, I love his sort of antics when he goes and he's messing with, Shohei Ohtani and things like that. And some other guys that have been incredibly impressive, Jordan Montgomery and Jameson Taillon. I really didn't think that this Yankees rotation was going to be able to stand the test of time. I thought that would be their big bugaboo. And Chapman hasn't even been around for a while, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's been injured.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I mean that's been super impressive with their bullpen. I know Michael King has been a nice surprise there for the Yankees as well.
Holmes
that I've
too.
heard.
Holmes too.
Holmes has been good. Yep.
All these Pittsburgh guys that Brian Cashman, everybody says, who's this guy Holmes? Who's this guy this? Who's this guy that? He seems to make these trades with the Pittsburgh Pirates and rob these guys from them. So I don't know.
They made up for it after the Pirates were doing the reverse. They were bringing all the ex-Yankees, Russell Martin, Avant Nova, etc. now they're doing the reverse.
Yeah. Yeah. So, the Yankees have been a great surprise. Look, obviously the Mets and the Yankees have been basically the class of baseball, and it's been since 2000 really since that's happened. So it's been fun to watch both of those teams have so much success. And I miss being in New York because I grew up in Connecticut, New York, and it's been fun, and I miss kind of being around that atmosphere. But I think the biggest team that's sort of stood out to me and surprised me has been the Chicago White Sox. I think they have so much talent, and I know they've dealt with some injuries and things like that as well. But to have so much talent and such a veteran manager like Tony La Russa, it's just been really surprising that they've struggled as much as they have out of the gate. And the Twins have done good, and they've taken advantage of that, and they lead the AL Central at this point. So. Look, they played well. I do expect the White Sox to get back and play better baseball in the second half as we get into the summer here. But that's sort of been the biggest surprise for me, that they haven't sort of run away with that division, in which going into the year you're thinking it's really their division.
So I want to touch on the two managerial firings. Joe Maddon today, fired by the Angels, and then Joe Girardi last week, fired by the Phillies. You could laugh at that, especially as a Braves analyst and a Mets fan, too. The Phillies becoming maybe the American League Angels. Just overpay everybody and then not know what to do with them.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I've always sort of liked Joe Girardi. I don't think he's a terrific manager by any stretch, but I've always appreciated the way that he manages and the way that he kind of talks about the game and things like that. But had a great opportunity to have a really good team there in Philadelphia, and just didn't come to fruition. And they had to make a move, and since they made the move, they started winning. So who knows if that works? And you get an ex-Yankee, I think it was it Phil Nevin who's the new manager there for the Angels? Yeah,
that will fail too.
What was that?
That will fail too.
Yeah, I'm sure it will. The Angels are just one of the most disappointing teams in all of sports at this point. You have a guy in Mike Trout, and you've made one playoff appearance in his tenure with the Angels, and it was in 2013, and your ass got swept. So, I mean, it's just so disappointing. The Angels are just so bad. They can never get the pitching to hold up, and I really like Joe Maddon, so I would assume that there was some philosophical differences there that led to him being fired. But just sort of disappointed to see Maddon go, because I think he's a good dude, but it is what it is.
Greg, you'll appreciate this as a Mets fan. Remember how Noah Syndergaard was making the comments of, your no-hitter wasn't a real no-hitter? Since he made those comments, he has an 8.34 ERA.
Hey, I can't sit here and say that I'm sad about that.
Well, either are the Yankees after what they did to him.
Yes.
As everybody knows, we are talking to ESPN Chattanooga radio show host Greg Larnerd. NBA playoffs, obviously. The Celtics versus the Golden State Warriors. We just had Brett Siegel on. He gave us his thoughts to that series. What are your thoughts so far? 1-1. The Celtics being one of the best defensive teams in the NBA, and the Golden State Warriors being the more prolific, offensive, talented teams we've seen in such a very long time. What are your thoughts so far in this series with the Celtics, Golden State in the NBA Finals?
Well, I think this series could very easily be 2-0 Dubs at this point. And I had, Golden State winning in 6. I don't think enough people were giving the Boston Celtics enough credit going into this series. And, they got extremely hot. They had the very sort of fluky fourth quarter. And then obviously you saw them come back to earth in game 2. As we shift back to Boston, I've said this on the show, I really believe that this series is less about Steph Curry, who I know he needs that, MVP in the finals to sort of cement his legacy for whatever reason that means. He needs to show up big in a big moment, I guess. But it's less about Jason Tatum. It's less about Jaylen Brown. It's, maybe even less about Klay Thompson, although I know he hasn't been great. But to me, it's more about the other guys, an Al Horford, a Marcus Smart, a Derek White, a Peyton Pritchard, a Jordan Poole, a Andrew Wiggins, Kevon Looney, whatever others, if you will, play better in this series. I think that's going to end up determining who wins this series. I know Jason Tatum didn't even play well in that first game scoring-wise, and they still won it, but he had 13 assists. It's really going to come down to the others, and it's been a fun series so far, and it's just fun to watch the ebbs and the flows of this series because it's after the first game, look at the Golden State Warriors. They don't they can't hang. They obviously lost it late in the game there after that big third quarter that they always have, and the defense wasn't very good. And then in game 2, Steph Curry, oh my gosh, he finally figured out how to play defense, and the Golden State Warriors are just so much better than the Boston Celtics. But I think it's going to kind of go ebb and flow back and forth. But ultimately, I do think the Warriors are the better team. Just the way that I see them moving the basketball and scoring in the paint and things like that, and taking advantage of turnovers from Boston. I put a free $5 bet on the Boston Celtics in the first round to win the NBA Finals. But I won't be too upset. Either way, I win. Either if the Celtics win and I'm wrong on my prediction, I win a little bit of I get a monetary gain. If I'm right on my prediction, obviously I look better, and then financially I lose nothing. So whatever. But I don't gain anything either.
Don't worry.
So
don't worry. Don't feel bad. Earl said he would root against the Warriors even if he did bet on them.
I'm rooting against the Warriors. I do not want to see Steph Curry hoist that championship trophy again.
Well, I'm a Knicks fan, so I can't root. I have a problem rooting for Boston. It's hard. I don't really want either of these teams to win.
Hey, I have a problem rooting for Boston too because I can't stand the Boston fans, and we have a lot of Boston fans that listen to this show, and they love to stick it into us New York fans' face that Boston always wins, and New York hasn't won anything since 2011. Okay, so
are you a Knicks fan or a Nets fan?
I'm a diehard.
We're both Knicks fans.
I'm a diehard Knicks fan, and I'm a Yankee fan. I am an Islander fan. And
should I just prop this up back
there
here?
You go. There you go.
Nice.
There you go.
Yeah.
Don't show any Chattanooga people over there. What are they, Atlanta Hawk fans over there?
yeah, all Atlanta Hawks fans.
But
I gave it to me last postseason.
There's a guy over there that I can't stand, and that's because he gave all the New York fans a middle finger a couple of years ago, and that's Trae Young. So, and by the way, we interviewed Trae Young's best friend. So,
really,
it doesn't hurt, And I never threw Trae Young under the what do they say under
the bus?
Under the bus, okay? Because
there you go.
I wanted to, but I didn't because I didn't want him to hang up the phone on us when we had him on the phone. But Trae Young is
probably smart.
Yes, Trae Young is a cool, down to earth guy, and obviously a great basketball player. But he obviously can't stand New Yorkers, and who would? And I actually believe that one way or another he'll be a Knick one way or another. So
Trae Young.
Trae Young. That's what I think.
See Trae Young.
Now, here's how I think it's going to happen. We just had Brett Siegel on the show, and he said that there's a very good chance Donovan Mitchell could be a Knick. And if Donovan Mitchell goes to the Knicks, who's his best friend? So
I don't know. Is it Trae Young?
It's Trae Young. So
you're not winning. I'll tell you what. You're not winning anything. You're not winning a damn thing if you have Trae Young and Donovan Mitchell.
I
on
would.
The team. You might win more games,
but
you're never winning a championship.
I would agree. RJ, I don't want the Knicks to trade RJ Barrett. I think they need to hold on to the kid. I think he's something special. I think finally have a guy that you can build your team around.